Good morning. So at the end of last week, I found myself sat in the workshop in Blyth with a chap called Dean Richards, who was a senior rugby player, played for the British Lions and Leicester Tigers, and so had a massive career in rugby coaching. And speaking to him about team building. We were putting together a team building thing to work with companies so we can raise some money for the charity. And we also had a senior team building coach from the Northeast who works all over the world. And we're going to put together a little thing on the ship so that we can work with companies who've got problems working together. And this has become a huge problem over the pandemic because people have started to work online through Zoom and pieces of equipment like that. So there's whole companies out there now that are actually working, having never really spent any time together. And what it's doing is breaking down real social contact. It's breaking down people's ability to understand each other and to work together effectively. And they're all saying, well, there's a demand here for us to do something to help people connect, to understand each other, to be able to work together effectively. And it got me thinking about our reading today. Because I look at what Paul is writing to the Corinthians and think, well, isn't it obvious? There are different gifts, they all come from God, and they're outpoured in different ways. Why did he think he had to say that? They didn't live in pandemic times like us and suddenly found themselves isolated and working from home and not being able to talk to each other. So why does he feel he has to start outlining what, to most of us, I think is pretty obvious, that everybody's got different skills and they need to recognise they're all from the same place? Well, the historians would suggest that the church was really unusual in that it broke all the social boundaries, just like Jesus did. That there were people who were slaves, there were people who were merchants from the middle classes, and there were people from the ruling classes or the upper classes, all in the same church. And Paul, in other parts of his letters, suggests that, the richer people were having the Lord's Supper and eating together before the slaves could get there, and sort of cutting them out of the process. So this is an early church. What are they doing that's forcing Paul to say this? And it strikes me that perhaps because they've reached all the social classes, that they're not necessarily recognising in each other all the things that they bring to the party, all the things that they give to the group. I wonder whether that's something that we do today. I wonder whether in our postmodern times where the individual is the key, everybody's opinion is as important as everybody else's, whether our society is broken down as well, whether we're separated by the assumption that each of us knows what is the right thing to do and each of our opinions is just as important as the next. And when we get to a place like that, sometimes there's no togetherness. Sometimes everybody goes their own route and feels that they don't have to buy into a group, into a team. Do we suffer a bit from that? Do we suffer a bit from the fact that we have people from all walks of life? Do we just need quietly to be reminded of Paul's letter just as importantly today as it was back then? Do we need a team build? Is church on a Sunday the only answer for us to find a way forward to work together even more efficiently or even better than we do today. Let's have a think about it. Let's pray on it. Let's consider how we move forward together. God bless.